Throughout the nation, many cities and towns have experienced a spike in crime. In Arlington, thankfully, not so much. We explore why. A few weeks back, ACMi was invited to take an exclusive tour inside the new high school building as it takes shape. We'll show you what we saw. And Arlington promotes a form of art that is both ancient and brand new, haikus. See why their recent celebration is the talk of the town. This and more up next on ACMi News.
From McLennan Park to Spy Pond, from Poets Corner to the Mystic River, we have Arlington covered. We're your neighbors, a friend you can turn to. This is ACMi News.
Arlington police arrested a California man on June 13th after he allegedly crashed a vehicle into the front yard of a home on Rubin Street and brandished a knife. Hello Arlington and welcome to ACMi News. I am In-young Kim.
And I'm James Milan. According to the APD, officers responded to a call at around 1:35 p.m. Residents of the home had approached the driver, who flashed a 3-inch folding knife and then fled the scene. The Belmont and Lexington police departments assisted in the ensuing search, as did the Mass State Police and Medford Police canine units. Officers found the suspect a short distance from the scene and made the arrest. No injuries or damages were reported from the crash. Police identified the suspect as 53-year-old Rudolfo Garces, who faces multiple charges in Cambridge District Court.
Nationwide, the rate of street violence increased during the first half of the year. However, Arlington seems to be an exception to this trend. Since last year, when COVID-19 was a main point of concern worldwide, crime in major U.S. cities spiked. A combination of factors such as fear of the virus and an increased desire for protection led people to purchase more guns, according to the federal data. However, incidents of violent crime in Arlington, like murder, rape, robbery, and aggravated assault, actually fell this year, according to APD stats. We met with Captain Richard Flynn to talk about why this might be.
I honestly believe a lot of that has to do with a decrease in interaction between people. But many times it's strangers, and there's some sort of an incident that drives them to commit some sort of a crime that is listed in that area. But over the last 18 months or so, we have really experienced a separation of people. And I truly believe that in a community like Arlington, who is made up of there is a good portion of elderly live in our community, but a lot of working professionals, and a lot of those working professionals, they worked from home. So there wasn't a lot of travel on our roadways. There wasn't a lot of interactions in stores and restaurants and things like that. Those interactions that sometimes go bad between people, that can sometimes drive up these crime rates. And a byproduct of COVID was that separation of people. And in a way that affected the crime that took place in our community.
Captain Flynn said that 911 calls were reduced by about 6,000 from 2019 and 2020. The calls for this year are not expected to reach 2019's levels. On the national level, President Biden recently acknowledged that violence during the summer could be more pronounced since the country is getting back to life after the pandemic.
Overall, though, Arlington is a very safe community. And again, we're blessed to have very low violent crime in this community. And I think that's just a combination of a good makeup within the community and some good policing that's being done and some good programs that's out there.
As we continue to enjoy a return to normal, it's nice to think that we might not have to worry about local crime rates, since the efforts of Arlington police and residents alike are keeping our community safe. Governor Charlie Baker recently proclaimed the week of July 11 to be Hurricane Preparedness Week. This comes after most of New England experienced some significant impacts from Hurricane Elsa. The proclamation encourages residents to start preparing now, as we are in the midst of Atlantic hurricane season, which runs from June 1st through November 30th. Massachusetts expects most major storms will hit the area around August and September. Here are some tips to help you prepare. Know your flood zone. Residents in East Arlington, especially near Spy Pond, Fresh Pond, and the Lower Mystic Lakes, are designated Evacuation Zone A, meaning that they will flood first when a storm surge hits the area. Closely monitor a storm's approach so that you can plan and relocate if need be. Also, families should review and/or create a family emergency plan and an emergency kit that can help sustain your needs, such as food and alternative sources of power. For more safety tips and guides that families can use to prepare themselves ahead of the next major storm, visit mass.gov and navigate your way to the Massachusetts Emergency Management Agency webpage.
Arlington has officially launched a new website committed to highlighting both our natural beauty and other popular attractions around town. Senior news producer Anim Osmani has the details.
Visit arlingtonmaorg is the first ever website Arlington has ever had dedicated solely to tourism. It is a product of a grant the Chamber of Commerce received a while back from the Massachusetts Office of Travel and Tourism.
We're very excited to have this great new tool for promoting the town of Arlington.
The website highlights almost all aspects of the town that make up Arlington: the history, the culture, natural scenery, activities, and the abundance of shopping and dining options. Featured as well are fun facts about the town and well-organized content that encapsulates all of Arlington's points of interest. Fun fact, did you know the meaning of monotony is the place that smells? Thanks, Mystic River. The website targets an audience within a 50-mile radius who might be traveling to more well-known tourist destinations like Cambridge and Lexington.
Folks who might be putting in a search for Lexington and Concord or Cambridge, people that are coming to the area to visit those places will eventually, over time, come across our website as well, and maybe think about making a stop in Arlington to see one or two of our sites, have a picnic in one of our parks, do business, have lunch in town, that kind of thing. So we want to put ourselves on the map between our neighbors who are already well-known tourist destinations.
Increasing tourism will boost the local economy, which is the main purpose of both the grant and the website.
The idea, obviously, is to bring tourism dollars into town, and that can only be positive for economic development in general and help us to bring new businesses into town if we're flourishing. So please share this out to your own networks and talk up Arlington as a great place for a day trip.
Although visit arlingtonma.org is still a work in progress, Best Luck encourages everyone to spread the word and try to convince our out-of-town friends to come visit Arlington. Also, if you have any photos that best capture any of Arlington's beauties or other points of interest that you'd like to share, you can send them to info@arlcc.com via email for a chance to have your photos featured on the website. For ACMi News, I'm Anim Osmani.
Thanks, Anim. You know, In Young, I've been living here a long time, and I got to say it's been a nice place to live for all that time, but it's gotten to be a better and better place to visit.
Yeah, Arlington is very, very beautiful cities, but above all, residents are the best.
Well, I know you've been out on the streets for much of the last year, so you would know.
Yes. All right. To get more of the public's reaction, we sent ACMi News correspondent Toby Barrett to the streets to find out how residents feel about Arlington as a tourist destination.
Yes, I think it does, because we love the Minuteman Trail. Nice little shops to eat, and so it's Boston on a small size.
Yeah, I mean, there is some history that I think a lot of people would like to see. I know I didn't know a lot about the history here. Like Samuel Wilson, my son just told me, he's like, "Hey, that's Uncle Sam." I was like, "You came from Arlington? I didn't know that."
I think it makes a good tourist destination for a short trip. Sure, I think you have a pond. I think you have some really fancy, nice restaurants here. It's walkable. I think if you're in the general area, I think it's a nice destination, a short destination, but a nice one, especially for food and lounging around water.
I hadn't really thought about it, actually. I suppose there's not a lot of sort of flashy historical things, but you got the Uncle Sam monument right behind us right here, and I know that there's plaques all around for battles and, you know, historic houses and stuff like that.
Everything in walking distance, the store, the grocery stores, and of course the buses and the trains. I mean, it was a little tough for the last year and a half because I wouldn't go on a bus for a while, and so, but everything, it's, and the Boys and Girls Club down the street where I live right around the corner there. I swim there. So I have everything for getting old. It's perfect for getting old. I don't know how it is for you young people that you may have to leave, but for me, I came here as I got older.
Great question. I'd say so. I've been here for 4 years now. I love to wander by Spy Pond. It's a great place to just relax and admire nature. That being said, I'd say that I have a humble knowledge about Arlington. There's a lot of art scene for, I guess, a suburb of Boston. I think it's worth checking out, yeah.
That was Toby Barrett reporting. And staying with the theme of Arlington as a destination, what better way to explore the town than a walking tour that goes in depth about Arlington's history and art? The Cyrus Dallin Art Museum offers just such an experience with a guided tour through Arlington Center that highlights the work of this master sculptor who made Arlington his home for many years. Registration is required via the website dallin.org and is open to everyone. This month's tour departs from the museum steps at 6 p.m. on Thursday, July 22nd.
Speaking of Arlington's identity, let's not forget about our flourishing art scene. On Wednesday, June 14th, the community gathered to celebrate Haiku in the Heights. ACMi News reporter Alexandria Acacia was in attendance and shares the sights and sounds from that evening.
Poems like these have been popping up on storefronts all throughout Arlington Heights. It's part of an annual festival known as Haiku in the Heights, and these words have the town talking.
My apple tree, tiny buds appear. I add compost, hoping for fruit. Michelle Sullivan.
People gathering in Arlington Heights to celebrate artwork that elevates the spirit.
One of my favorite things to see along the bike path is all the little artworks and other sort of serendipitous little things that you find, like I think they called them baikus instead of haikus.
The Haiku in the Heights Festival highlights poems of 18 volunteer artists ranging from 7 to 92 years old.
Pine branches hold me. Feet away, a hawk swoops, lands, tail red as sunset.
The Arlington Commission for Arts and Culture organized the event.
It really helps people get the breadth of the arts and how arts is part of their lives. And we all know that where there are artists, people congregate because it's fun.
Since spring, local artists have submitted their creative pieces to be showcased.
I unswaddle my sub. Cubes of pickles fall like gratitude.
Some people communicating through music, arts, and short stories ranging in themes to spread positivity throughout the streets.
It's nice to be playing music, period, because, you know, the pandemic and quarantine took a lot of live music away.
The 50 hand-painted installations are designed to give small businesses some love.
And what is nice about it is I live in Arlington Heights. I have never seen so many people having so much fun, talking with each other. It doesn't cost anything, and everybody's promoting all the business, and the business owners are outdoors.
Now these works of art will be up through the rest of the month to preview. For ACMi News, I'm Alexandria Acacia.
Thank you, Alex. And now we take you behind the scenes at the Arlington High School construction site. ACMi's youth production manager, Kevin Wetmore, was invited inside the building to get a glimpse of the future. He shares that with us here.
We had a very exciting tour of the new school. It's a beautiful place, and it's coming together nicely. We were able to see the discourse lab. We were able to see the auditorium, classrooms, the art spaces, the science labs, the maker space. It's just spectacular. It's coming along very nicely.
And so the first bay that you're seeing is the outdoor canopy, and then the vestibule and going into the space. And then up above you're seeing the D-Lab, the curve of the D-Lab, and the clear story in the windows will go into that space. And all that drywall and studs get taken down, you'll see straight through to the fields. This will be essentially all glass, and then it'll go straight through and you'll see the back wall.
The auditorium, the band room, the chorus room, they're just going to be fabulous for our students. And then we went down and saw the light well on the other side, the STEM wing, the steam wing, I should say. And this is a 20-foot diameter elliptical, but it is all the way from the bottom floor to the full height. And that's going to be all light filled. It's going to be magnificent.
We have the overlook here. We like to refer to this as the Juliet balcony. We'll have a little overlook spot with a bench, and you can look down into as people are arriving and mingling in the lobby and everything. And it's also the secondary way to get to the auditorium because the balcony is up here. On the balcony and on the lower floor, we sort of have what we refer to as our arms that are wrapping and coming out, and we'll have seating, but the seating will be movable, and they can decide whether they want seating there or they want to use it as part of the performance. They could have somebody speaking part from the balcony. They could have somebody playing instruments from the balcony. So what you'll see is we have plumbing along the window, on the walls here, both sides, and a lot of casework. And then there's a prep room just around the corner. We have it set up to have either island or peninsula seating for the kids.
The performing arts wing and the STEAM wing will be done by February of 2022. Right after February break, we'll open those spaces up for students, and then the auditorium itself will be completed in early April, the first week of April. And so we expect that students will be able to perform from the stage of the auditorium in some way, shape, or form sometime in April, May, and June.
It was a fabulous tour. I think one of the things we've all been looking at floor plans, and now we can see what it looks like, and the spaces were magnificent. It's immensely gratifying to see the work that's gone from putting SOI into the MSBA, and then in fact having to redo it for the second time. And we've gone from that point through an override with the whole community to the real, to a lot of meetings around the spaces for the building, the design. And now we're in the time where we're starting to see all of that work. While I am going to be retiring at the end of June, I certainly will be back to see it in various stages. This is going to be great for the community.
What a great glimpse of what's to come. And here's another one. Construction is set to begin on another major project in town, the renovation and expansion of the town's very well-used DPW facility. The site on Grove Street will be transformed over the next couple of years. Town Manager Adam Chapdelaine gives us a preview of the extensive changes.
So the start is imminent. I think that there will be a shovel in the ground sometime in the next week, maybe even by the end of this week, if not early next week. So, we're basically starting to count that 25-month timeline now.
All right, great. I think we can get our producer here to pull up on the screen an image of the entirety of the project, and if you can just kind of give us some perspective on what it is we're looking at.
Absolutely. So if you look at Building A and Building B, right now that houses the majority of the Public Works administrative divisions, as well as inspectional services on the first floor of Building A. Building C is vehicle storage. Building D is where a good portion, we do some vehicle storage as well as our motor equipment repair. What we are going to be doing is renovating those buildings to house different uses than what are being housed now in Building A and Building B, and then constructing Building E, which you can see goes all the way back, to take some of the uses out of Building D and Building A and Building B as well. So the final result will have Building A and Building B housing our facilities department, which is now currently housed in the high school, as well as our information technology department, which is also primarily located in the high school. They will be housed in Buildings A and Building B. Buildings C and D will be almost entirely vehicle storage. In the various studies we've done over the years in trying to improve the efficiency and longevity of our vehicle fleet, the recommendation always comes back that being able to have indoor storage for your vehicle fleet expands their longevity. So we want to try to maximize vehicle storage in this project. So again, Building C and Building D will be primarily used for vehicular storage. For Building E, in the front part of the building with the brick facade, there you go. Thank you. That's going to house DPW administrative offices. So the director, recycling coordinator, and all the administrative staff that serve the DPW department, as well as inspectional services. So inspectional services has been at 51 Grove Street. It's now at 23 Maple Street for an interim period while we're doing this project. But then they will move into this new building, Building E as well. The back of Building E, which I think there's another show up, that is going to be where motor equipment repair and other DPW shops are located. So the majority of the vehicle maintenance and some vehicle storage will be in this facility that you see on the screen right now. Again, as well as the shops where Natural Resources has a shop where they can work on various things, as well as the Highway Division, the Water Sewer Division, and that will all be housed in the rear part of this new Building E. So back to that first photo, you did see a reference to a salt shed, and there will be a newly constructed salt shed behind Building E, and that's where we store our salt for winter and plowing operations.
Next, we want to recognize a local community member and its business for their quiet act of generosity that supported vulnerable families through the pandemic. Manny, the owner of My Brother's Place in East Arlington, was contacted by a local school to work out a subsidy to offer discounted pizza to families. He took it a step further and began offering large cheese pizzas at only $3 each. Starting with the Thompson School community, it then expanded to Arlington High School as well. While the arrangement has just come to a close, we would like to thank My Brother's Place for their kindness.
And while we're at it, we'd also like to congratulate a couple of Arlington youth baseball teams for winning the 2021 Eastern Mass State Championships. Both the 8-year-old and the 9-year-old teams have thus qualified for the regional championships that take place on the weekend of July 17th and 18th. Best of luck to these youngsters, and special congratulations to our colleague, Cheryl Brosgoulis, who has a grandson on each of the winning teams. Too bad she can't clone herself, at least for this weekend.
Well, that is all that we have for today. Thank you for tuning into this week's newscast.
But before we sign off, I want to take a good long look at my co-anchor. We have enjoyed having In Young here for almost a year. She has one of the kindest, sweetest, and most thoughtful people that I have gotten to work with, and we are definitely going to miss her.
Thank you.
We wish you the very best, and we know that you're heading back to Korea to be a reporter, right?
Yes.
That's how we like to lose people around here.
Aww, thank you.
For ACMi News, I'm James Milan.
And I'm In Young Kim. Tune in next week for another edition of ACMi News. Goodbye.
You can always check out our latest segments and newscasts on the web at acmi.tv/news. And don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at ACMi News. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. You'll find us at youtube.com/ACMi News. If you have any news tips for us or wish to become a citizen journalist, we'd love to hear from you. Email us at news@acmi.tv or stop by ACMI Studio A at 85 Park Avenue.